Hey everyone, welcome to the Fall of Valbury video. I have no idea where I have to go or what I have to do with this, but we're going to start with Anastera. I think with Anastera you need to have her at Honored, or is it Revered? I think it's Honored. Yeah, new quest. So, with her you do, I think it's a line of 4 fetch quests. The first being you have to get one of each of the rare crafting mats. Then you have to go get the Fang, then you have to go get the Tome, which I think is this one. And then this one would be getting the Obsidian Shard. And then this one, the new quest, would be Fall of Port Valbury. So she, another matter comes to my attention. Uncovered location of our enemy's archivist Thelon. Oh! Okay, a powerful ethereal. So yeah, there's been an item floating around the game related to this guy. You saw it in the GG Stash. It was in GG Stash. I seem to remember like Archivist Thelon, like his head or something. And that's my heat kicking on, by the way. Before they come down here, Valbury was already doomed. So we had to go kill Thelon. Alright, I'll bring you his head. Yes! Oh wait, where do we have to go? The conflagration. I love the conflagration. Don't you guys? No, the conflagration's fine. I'm just joking, but not really. Also, it's so bright. The game's bright now. I don't need happiness by Grim Dawn. It's like it's high noon or something. Like, literally high noon. I don't even mean that as like a joke or a reference. Grim Dawn, you okay there? You okay there, buddy? So one of the patch notes was enemies that were resistant to Aether are now, like, slightly less resistant to Aether. So I'm hoping that this means this dungeon... Why is the game all laggy now? Wow, that took a lot of energy out of me. Huh. Here, let me close Chrome. I still have it open from when I was doing the, patch notes. I'm meant to be kind of careful in like watching my energy with Albrex. I don't know, I don't remember any patch notes changes on it, but maybe I'm just used to other classes right now because I've been playing other characters that don't rely on energy, and you can pretty much just go ham with it. So, yeah, maybe... Oh, what's this? What's this? So there's also, like, since the, this devotion ability way over here got an upgrade, got a boost, got a buff. I was kind of thinking of picking it up. But also, Blizzard got a buff, even though Warpfire got a nerf. And I'm kind of wondering about maybe going for one of them. But the problem is, I'm sort of, like, doing some points here and there to get extra. Apparently I need. So let's see, we need 3 dynamite. And as per usual when I do this stuff, I have no idea if this is the correct place to go or if we're... we're going the wrong way here. I think we found it. Oh, it's one of those poison disabling, poison skill disabling cloud guys. Yeah, why am I doing this with my Aether Ray guy? I mean, aside from the fact that he's like my main character. It's like, yeah, let's go in an ethereal dungeon. Alrek's Aether Ray character. If this is even the dungeon we're looking for. So roguelikes in this game tend to be in portals, so let's go for it. See, I was thinking we'd have to go through the whole conflagration to that broken bridge. And that's where we want to go? Nope. Oh, boy. Oh, we still have access to our rift. So we'll put this here. And this is a roguelike as well, coming up. So it may not exactly go good. Like, if I die, I'm gonna be a little angry. Luckily, ethereals aren't like really that difficult to deal with. Flesh hulks are, but I mean, most of them aren't. Oh, these guys. Oh, you gotta be shitting me. Okay, huh. The only thing that's annoying about ethereals is when you get that happen, where you get... Oh, God. Hey, let me out. I don't want to fight you here. I want to fight you down here. Hello. I'm not in the mood for your cutesy-wootsy shit right now, Valbury. Well, at least... Oh, God, stop stunning me. At least he popped up, like, here. And not, like in the dungeon. Where he could really, really, really hurt me and kill me. And really, really annoy me. Stop! No! Come on, just be your like, I'm gonna stand there and throw lightning at you and not do anything else self. No, I said don't chain stun me. Okay. Yeah, it's a good start for today. I'm gonna say, I do kind of prefer that he's out here. Rather than in the actual roguelike. And we're going to try to pull him back down here. Just so I don't have to worry about standing in any ethereal garbage. He also gained a lot of health back. That's just annoying me. I also didn't want to be up near that thing because I didn't want to have to deal with ads. Which apparently we're going to have to deal with regardless because they just keep coming out of like this building on my left. Now we run. Hit him with some bombs, reduce his aether res, run away, use potion. There we go. So we tough of the badger. Well, we got the warrant off him, that counts for something. Yeah. Quite the build I have here, huh? What got turned off? That, and that, it looks like. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, yeah. Yeah, again, why did I pick my Aether guy to do this video? Probably because I don't have anyone else that's really this far in the game who could probably handle a roguelike like this. So we got some Burwitch roads going on here. Some pretty standard stuff. Now for the non, flesh-warped things, the big ol' Aether guys, I think we'll be fine. It's only when those things show up am I gonna get all complainy. Man, how did Non-Arcanus live during this? Let's go not in the fire, that'll kill me. So we got some of the Aether Manticores. I'm just assuming up and right is where we need to go, so we're gonna go up and right. There's one thing I had to check real quick. I just had to make sure that's on there. I had to make sure we had everything set up still, because sometimes that does happen.
That skill's not ready.
Okay, yeah, we're blowing on through all this. I just realized I don't have my headphones on either. I am very, very ill prepared for today. Oh, Aldenar. I think I used your offhand for a while. I'm gonna put headphones on. That seems like a good idea. Okay, again, we're looking to go predominantly up and... Well, now we're going up and left. But yeah, we want to try to just get to wherever the actual roguelike entrance is. Oh, there are the Flesh Hulks. I'm also kind of used to my my really, really tanky character. Okay, thought there was a breakaway wall. Okay, okay, Grim Dawn, you can have your little spasms. It's fine. I forgot how much damage this guy actually takes sometimes. I'm not even joking. My tanky character, the shielded, you know, warder with the bajillion hit points, it's like There's virtually no comparison. No, let's go back up there. Aether guy is super glass cannon-y. That guy is super not. I just want to look up here real quick in this corner. Yeah, also there's this thing following me around, and I don't actually know what it is. I'm running away from this for a second. Yeah, we don't want to be in the middle of any of this garbage. Oh, I bet it's behind that door.
That skill's not ready.
Yeah, the mini abominations are the worst to deal with. Like, the artillery crystals are pretty bad, but these guys, like, they just have so much aether res. There's so much aether res and they deal so much damage that it's like, it's almost worth it to not fight them. And I can already tell you this is gonna... Oh, god damn it! Fuck them. Let's just move on. Oh. This is gonna be a really, really annoying dungeon. I can already tell. It's just gonna be tons of aether crystals and damage floors, and it's all the fun stuff. All the fun stuff you think about when you think about Grim Dawn. I'm still connected to the rifts, so I don't think we're in the dungeon proper yet. In fact... Oh, yeah, maybe we have to... Maybe it is a big loop, and we go back kind of this way. Herald of the Stars. Okay, we found a Herald. Are you guys ready for this riveting gameplay we're about to see? As soon as these zombies start spawning, or stop spawning. Stop spawning! Okay.
Can't do that yet.
Do 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 do.
I can't do that.
Like I said, riveting gameplay here.
Can't do that.
So Herald of the Stars is the ice one.
Can't do that yet.
It's probably why he's going down a little easier than either of the other ones. And here we are. So, I need a skeleton key, don't I? Okay, the city is rotting is our lore piece, so you guys can look at it there. And then... Okay. I need to go make a skeleton key, and then I'll be back for the actual dungeon. Hey everyone, this is going to be kind of awkward because apparently my microphone audio wasn't picked up when I came to do this section of running through Valbury. So I'm going to be doing the commentary after doing the actual run through of the area. So what I was showing right there was Albrecht's 8th Array now has a sheet DPS over 100k. And what that means is the damage is exactly the same as it was in 1006. The only difference is a recalculation. It's not that like an 8th Array build is now dealing some insane increase of damage. It's just been corrected so that now it's like that's the accurate number for the insane amount of damage the build deals out. So the first area is Port Valbury Foundation, and after you go through the door, you go in that little hole, and then you sort of go through caves, and it's some pretty standard Grim Dawn caves. It just has Aether stuff in it. So yeah, Flesh Hulks I hate with a passion. It's not a very good start here to the playthrough that I had to start running away from 3 Flesh Hulks. But you know, when you're an 8th Array character, an Aether-based character, going into an ethereal-themed dungeon, yeah, you're gonna have some problems with some things. In this case, it was Flesh Hulks. And I actually started to get pretty good, and I'll point this out later on, at taking them on when there's only one of them. But like 3 of them came, and it's like each of them has 2 stuns, and they deal lots of damage and have ridiculous amounts of Aether res. So I actually think I handled that pretty well, all things considered. So Port Valbury, it's a pretty nice addition to Grim Dawn, and I'd probably say it's my favorite of the 3 roguelikes, even though it has Flesh Hulks in it. Because the thing about Steps is it kind of just is like an undead dungeon. It's very much like the Arcavian Undercity, but if you die in the game, you die for real. So it's like you could just go to the Undercity really to do farming, unless you want that big old chest at the end. And Bastion of Chaos is kind of difficult. Like, it's not like it's impossible. I've just never felt comfortable in it. It just feels like there are too many times when you'll be RNG'd to death. Either with crystals showing up or with enemies spawning in certain ways or hitting you with certain things. I've never felt comfortable in that dungeon. Specifically because of just the way it worked and the way the chthonics work in it. I'm just not a big fan of just that dungeon in general. So the Port of Valbury, like, I like the style. I like that we're gonna get to it eventually. That it's like a town that's a dungeon. It's like a little city that's a dungeon. And ethereals are sort of moderately difficult to deal with. And I mean, yeah, your build is gonna determine how difficult they're actually gonna be. And an Aether Ray build is not exactly optimal for fighting ethereals. So there is that to take into consideration. But I would say that it is probably my favorite of the three. Just for style purposes, and the faction isn't that annoying. I also think the end boss is the most fun out of all of them, because for Alkamos, he's kind of like, once you deal with this freeze, he's just like a thing that can jump on you. He's just a undead teleporter. Yeah, he's strong. He hits really hard. But once you throw on your what is it? It's like ice. It's not like Ice Bane. It's the ointment, the Hoarfrost ointment. Once you throw on the Hoarfrost ointment, you're fine. You're not gonna have to deal with his biggest advantage, which is the freeze that he can hit you with easily. All you have to do is not stand in the blue circles and just be aware that he'll Shadow Strike you, and you'll be fine. Well, it's Alkamo's Shadow Strike. It's his special Shadow Strike, but you know what I mean. And then is it Sharzul, the last guy at the bottom of the Bastion? He's like a huge DPS outputter, from what I recall. I haven't actually fought him a lot. I am not lying when I say actively avoid the Bastion of Chaos, if at all possible. I just don't want to be in there. So, yeah, but he's just like pours fire and chaos out. So it's a little annoying as a boss fight. But we'll get to the boss fight of this area when we get there. So we're in the next area, Old Town. And Old Town it's fine. You sort of come out on the other side of the bridge that's broken. It's a pretty standard Grim Dawn thing to go through an underground cave, come out of a bridge, come out on the other side of a bridge. And we're in like a harbor. We're in a port city. The city's a little maze-like. You can see me go up to those stairs and be like, nope, that's not where we gotta go. We gotta go down here. And, that's some funky water. Like, I remember saying this when I was actually doing this playthrough, where I was like, man, that water is really stagnant and gross looking. And it's a little awkward that the line of the shore, like, it doesn't look like it's influencing the water at all. And that might just be my settings, but it is a little jarring to look at, because it looks like, kind of looks like you're very, very high up looking down on something, rather than having water right there. So we got terraformers are in this place. The ethereal manticores are in this place. Mind Ragers, obviously. All of the Overseer classes are in here. Flesh Hulks that I've talked about before. Dominators, Reanimators. All of the zombie types. Pretty much every single ethereal type is represented here. And there's the new sort of flesh-warped fire troll guys. So there's flesh-warped Deadeyes, which are trolls that carry rifles that are Aether-themed. But they also threw in, and I'll try to pick up the name as we go on, but there's a flesh-warped, like, Fire Eye. Hell, that might even be the name. And, they have fire rifles. That's their difference. I think I maybe got lucky too that we didn't have too many aether crystals. I don't think any actually aether crystals turned into ethereal amalgamations, but I'm assuming that can happen in this dungeon. It's one of my least favorite things that have happened because those things take a lot to bring down when you're an Albrecht's Aether Ray Arcanist. I mean, the obelisks take a lot to bring down too. And I guess this is the perfect time to mention this. I'm considering with Albrecht's Aether Ray, you can watch my energy just decay almost to nothing every time I use it for an extended period of time. So I've kind of been wondering if I should despecialize this character a bit. Still keep him as an Albrecht's Aether Ray character, but take the Albrecht's Aether Ray and keep it at like maybe 16 out of 16, and then 12 out of 12 on disintegration. And yeah, that's not optimal damage, but it might be more more damage over time. It might be a higher actual DPS if we drop Albrecht's Aether Ray down a bit, just so I can hold the beam. Because if I have to constantly like shoot and then I'll deal a crap ton of damage over a very short period of time to a single target, but then I have to run away, or use a potion, which isn't really harming the DPS, but it annoys me a little bit. If I have to run away and let my energy regen take over, or my artillery take over, and then if I run away after casting it too much, I might actually have a huge, I might actually lose my buffs because of the energy costs required to maintain them, which isn't a lot, but Albrecht's Aether Ray can drain energy to the point where it becomes an issue. So I am kind of in debate over whether or not my Albrecht's Aether Ray Arcanist should run Aether Ray at a lower number. Now, I have other characters that run their main attacks at quote-unquote suboptimal numbers in terms of the level of the ability. Or I have characters that get them to the cap and then they just don't have slots for plus skills to get them way, way, way up there. So it's a debate I have right now, and it's mostly in my head, over whether or not Albrecht's Aether Ray Arcanist should go to being, a 16 out of 16 beam instead of a 25 out of 16 is I think what he has right now. Or it's just not an issue. And I could take those points, those 9 points, and maybe put them in Temper for more armor, or I could put them in Conversion to deal with the stuns that can happen with Flesh Hulks and stuff. I could take and put it in part of the Iskander's Elemental Exchange line, just to give that more oomph across all my abilities. I don't know. I could do Fabric of Reality and give a serious boost to my various Aether abilities, because I have a ton of Aether abilities, none of which really do weapon damage is the problem. So Fabric of Reality, it's only to get that Aether damage out there. And I convert pretty much all Chaos damage to Aether damage, so the Chaos half of that would be lost. So, it's more of I'm spitballing that as a possibility. Or did I just keep the build the way it is? Because, right then, we 1 second killed that hero. And I really like that. It's just there's sometimes, mobs, they're heroes, or there are just, regular monsters that are gonna be problems for our energy regen. Like the boss we fought down there that I kind of talked over the fight. I know I did talk over it, but that's because there are going to be, I think, 2 others during this video. So, excuse me, I'll take a drink of water. Albrecht's Aether Ray, I'm considering toying around with the point spread in the ability. In the build, I should say. Mostly on the ability itself. It's my favorite ability in the game still, and and I'm just maybe I'm just looking for change's sake. This may just be me talking about changing the build just to change the build, rather than find some effective, efficient way to run it. Now, I mentioned this place being all mazy, and this is one of the parts where I'm I wouldn't say I'm lost, but I definitely do get a little lost here. Where we've got, I think we have to go down and to the left is ultimately where we end up going. But yeah, I don't mind exploring around a bit. So when I said I kind of get okay at fighting off the Flesh Hulks, this is the kind of pattern you got to do with Albrecht's Aether Ray. You throw out your Blackwater cocktails until you get the Aether Mine proc from your devotion. And then what you do is you throw down your artillery, you throw down a Devastation and your Hellfire Mines, or Thermite Mines, and then you sit there and beam them down, and then you run away if you need to run away. It's sort of like you kite just for a little bit, and then you can burn them down. But you really have to get the Aether Resistance reduction from Blackwater Cocktail with Arcane Mines. Arcane Bombs, sorry. To be able to hurt them much more. But also the Wrath of Agravax proc from that relic. Deals a lot of damage when they get up close. Still got to be really, really careful with Flesh Hulks, though. They do hurt quite a bit, especially when you're sort of a glass cannon-y character. Yeah, so we're going back down here. I think I actually do look at the mini-map coming up, because it's definitely a little on the confusing side where you go at this point. But that happens in dungeons. You can kind of see I'm going to point at it. Yeah, we have to go down. There's sort of like these long houses right here that we have to go through. I run in the walls a lot. I've never actually watched my own Grim Dawn footage. So, I mean, except when I edit, of course. But I never, like, sat down and just watched myself play the game without commentary over it. I run into walls a lot. I'm sure that annoys some people out there. That was more me checking to see if that was a door. Now, if the expansion class for... Let's just talk about the Inquisitor. If the Inquisitor has a lot of fire support, it would be kind of an interesting take on an Albrecht's Aether Ray character. Because the whole point of going Sorcerer was because fire does overlay with the Aether Ray. But also, initially, the Sorcerer choice was for the Canister Bomb with Cluster Bomb. Because of the stun. Way back when the level cap was like 40, I think it was. That was like a go-to multi-class thing. Oh man, I just ran past the chest. It's on the left side of the screen, and I don't even think I see it when I'm playing the game. I know that's gotten comments. Oh, please go back and get at me. Don't embarrass me. Damn you, past me. You're embarrassing present me. So yeah, this is a little... Flames of Valbury, I don't go in there because it just looks like death. I think it's a challenge area for this roguelike. Now this first run through of Valbury, I did avoid all of the things that looked like challenge rooms because I needed to complete the quest to acquire the head of Archivist Thelon. I just didn't want to die before that happened. And I wanted to actually get to the final boss. So... There's the Flames of Valbury, which is right there. And I think that's a challenge room, like a room of death. And then there is one to the north of Old Town, on this side of the river. After we go through those long houses. I'd probably say this is the east side of Old Town. Yeah, there's I think I skipped it because there's also this journal entry up here that I don't have. So I obviously didn't get it when we went in. That was actually Grim Dawn freezing a little bit. I don't know how well this audio is going to sync up. So, I should probably not directly refer to things on screen, now that I think about it, but I digress. Yeah, I skip over Flames of Valbury. I'm going to go back into this area and do like a more in-depth thing. I think I might even do all 3 roguelikes with the in-depth playthrough character, the Druid, because I don't actually know if I've done the roguelikes in that playthrough. Now, the other thing I'm thinking of with the Aether Ray build is, like, I run away a lot, and you kind of do that with a more squishy glass cannon-y caster character, but I'm kind of wondering if I can make him a little more tanky in some way. Because I built that Dawnbreaker Warder, and I've learned a lot about getting a character tanky through devotion and stuff. And I'm actually wondering if it would be a good idea for this character to take up some of that philosophy and maybe focus a little bit on the Order Primordial combo. Like, he'll never run a shield, obviously, but I'm wondering if he can get enough going with, like, just raw defensive ability outside of a shield. Just with, like, maybe not heavy armor, but just pick some armor slots that are maybe good for that, like pants and boots. I know he has Golemborn Greaves, so I don't think it gets better than that for boots. But yeah, just figure out a way to get him more tanky, so he can basically sustain against all this onslaught of stuff hitting him, rather than be so glass cannon-y. More food for thought on the build. Yeah, and I'm pointing out flames, that's the shape of it. You can go through it, it looks like, to get to basically where I am. I just went around it. I'm glad you can actually go around it. The unavoidable death room in Bastion of Chaos is one of the reasons I don't actually like that area. So let's talk about the Elementalist. So yeah, Elementalist, or no, Inquisitor. I like the concept behind it right now. I like the idea of like an elemental gunner, like a magic gunner. And I know some people out there are less inclined to directly like that, just because it's like a sorcerer can kind of do that already. Like you build Fire Strike with pistols and then use the sorcerer's abilities to enhance the Fire Strike and give yourself some defenses. But you also have, you know, all of the other abilities Arcanist has that are elemental based. But I still think it's cool to have that concept sort of ready-made, because, like, you could also say a bit like the same thing with the Battle Mage. The Battle Mage is your Warrior Mage character. You can equip a two-hander, swing with Force Wave and Kalidor's Tempest, and that's a Warrior Mage. But the Shaman also exists. And the Shaman is sort of a ready-made Warrior Mage character. And I think that's what the Inquisitor is going to be like. Yeah, it's a ready-made gunner, like magic gunner. But it's going to do what it does differently than what a sorcerer combination would do. Even though I do think Fire Strike is probably the first build that's going to come out for that, because you're just going to take whatever the ranged mastery abilities are and equip them with a Demolitionist running Fire Strike. Oh yeah, in this dungeon, every one of the roguelikes has traps. In Steps of Torment, it is those like blue sort of fireball things and the like blue-white thermite mine things. I think they're Vitality Cold traps. I could be wrong on that. In Bastion of Chaos, it is the crystals that pop up. And the various crystals with the various effects. Like they're Novas, they have like the bullet spread. I think some of them even shoot fire. In this place, you've probably seen them a couple times already. In this place, it is like these Aether Swirls. They look like a Blade Spirit, but they're green. And they just deal damage to you. And they'll sort of like either move randomly around or they'll follow you around. They might have a random movement pattern. Like you can see one on the right here that's just wandering off to the right. It's underneath my map. Oh, now it's coming back. And it might sense where you are. Oh, no, it's just going off again. I think it might be Aether Lightning, looking at the effect even more. So you have these like Aether Tornadoes that just fly around. Now I would assume they deal Aether Lightning damage to you. It's pretty interesting as far as a roguelike trap is concerned. And it's also not anything... Like, the crystals are the other big annoyance for me in the Bastion. And why I don't really go in there a lot is because, I mean, the crystals hurt. And the crystals are kind of scary. So, and they can pop up at inopportune times. So like I said, you can get RNG'd quite heavily in that place. So yeah, I don't mind the Aether Lightning Tornadoes here. Now here's the other, I think, challenge area, because we have this Aether Barrier, and it goes into sort of this horseshoe-shaped room, and you can see the other Aether Barrier to the right. And it might... I'm gonna look at the map as we go. Okay, yeah, it just loops around. So you have just two options for going in there. I don't go in there because, like I said, I wanted to make this playthrough much more about exploring everything, and I do run away from a fight right there because it's just all flesh hulks, and I'm like, nah, let's just go to Newtown. So we're just going to Newtown, which is this area. Or Hightown, sorry. Hightown. I think during this playthrough I kept referring to Old Town as Low Town. Or Low Valbury. Because we're in Hightown right now. So Hightown was probably quite the place before the Grim Dawn happened. It's very, very built up. Like, it makes Burwich look tiny. And yeah, cityscapes have always been one of my favorite things to run around in games like this. Like, one of the things I actually liked about Diablo 3, the expansion pack, was that we had Westmarsh. That just like a giant, randomly generated town. Well, I shouldn't say town, it was a city. But you never go in it. There's no point to doing the Act 5 bounties. They took forever. And you only ever got one in, like, the actual city portion that wasn't on fire. If you even got one there. And even then, it was kind of a difficult place to go through. Too bad the rest of that act is, like, what, swamps? And an obnoxious maze dungeon. Followed by another obnoxious maze dungeon. That was kind of fan servicey. So we have this Flesh Hulk here, and we're going to have another boss fight coming up. There's kind of this courtyard up here, which I think is where you're supposed to fight the thing that's coming up. But this is when I sort of get like a good Flesh Hulk fight, where I kind of tank it and then destroy it. So that's kind of putting together how to beat those things. So these bosses, the Watchers, they each have their own... We'll just get this out of the way. They each have their own monster infrequent. Their belts. And the one that drops off of this guy, Yggdrad, has attack speed and casting speed. The Chains of Yggdrad. I'll post, at the end of the video, when we actually get to talking about the final boss, I will post the base, or even after I fight the boss, I'll just open up GG Stash and look at the things. I'll post the items you can get out of this area. There are four infrequents and 2 uniques. 3 of the infrequents are belts. And the one I just looked at there, Yggdrad, has the attack speed, casting speed, which is pretty interesting on a belt. And if you get some good rolls on it, could actually be a best in slot belt for a bunch of builds. It might even be like, oh, Tinkerer's Ingenuity? No, I don't really need that. I can go for this belt. But you have to get a really good one. Like, I almost do get a really good one right there. But I don't actually think I end up keeping it. The other belts are standard defensive stuff. Like, it's fun. It's fun that you can have, like, a DPS belt in Grim Dawn. Like, my belt makes me attack fast. The other monster infrequent is a one-hand axe. It's an Aether Cleaver that doesn't deal Aether damage. It's I think it's internal trauma based. And yeah, those monsters are all behind the wall, and I think we'll actually get in that building a little later in the video. So it's I believe the axe gives +2, I want to say, to Zolhan's technique. So it's something for soldiers. Which is not bad. And then the boss can drop either an epic or a legendary unique. It's a scepter. It's an Aether Lightning Scepter. And I'll go over the stats at the end of the video. But the legendary one, it might be the best item for a druid in the game. I'm not even lying. Because it's got, I think it's an activated ability. I have to actually look at the item itself. But it's got a really great ability on it. The damages are Aether and Lightning. And it gives pluses to, I believe, Devastation and Maelstrom. So it's pretty much ready to go in terms of like a druidic weapon. It's kind of why I want to go through this place with my playthrough character a bunch, because that's what he is. He's an Aether Lightning Druid that heavily uses Devastation and heavily uses Maelstrom. The Wind Devil part of the Maelstrom is on Wind Devils, so I should say Wind Devils. He heavily uses Wind Devils. I like that this place has a lot of tight corridors, though. Because this is basically me sitting here firing the beam just as monsters run into it. I also don't pick up some of the Aether Crystals. I just don't want to walk on the damage ground. So Warp Fire got nerfed. So Electrous Flash Freeze is no longer Electrous Flash Flame. It's only half fire. Half of the damage now is fire instead of all of the damage, essentially, being fire. Which does mean it's a weaker ability. But it's not that much a difference, in all honesty. You still build a lot of elemental damage with this character, which means you're getting cold damage out of it. I still think as a sorcerer that's based around fire and Aether, Warp Fire is probably the best option, still. And it's never not going to be the best option, in my opinion, as a weapon.
That skill's not ready.
So I have, like, this Rage Hulk here, and I think I'm at, essentially, the line of where he's going to run away. He's right on where I am right now. Got another one of the Watchers. The Watcher fights are basically the Commander Lucius fight. Lucian? The guy at the bottom of the, Fort Icon Armory. He has all the same moves. Pretty much, I think it is just clones of that guy, are what the Watchers are. Which I'm fine with. RPG, just all video games that have monsters do that. We just repeat the monster. They're just a lot quicker to fight. Because Commander Lucius, or Lucian, I don't remember exactly the name. You know who I'm talking about, though. He does take a while. He has a lot of hit points. So here we have a Flesh Hulk next to a Heroic Flesh Hulk. Fun, fun, fun. Oddly, I think the Hero Flesh Hulks are easier to fight. Than the regular ones. Because this is Festerless. And I take him down pretty quickly right here. And there's another one, I don't remember his name though, that can pop up. He pops up a lot when you retake Fort Icon. But yeah, this guy almost feels easier than the regular Flesh Hulk, which is kind of funny. I do find this treasure chest. I don't think I missed an exalted chest or anything like that. That one I ran by. I think it was just heroic. Because that's the same style as that chest. So I believe we have 1 or 2 mobs left here, and then we're going to come upon the Archivist Thalon. So Archivist Thalon, I'll actually talk about him when he shows up on screen. You can see the star on my minimap. For me, he spawned in Hightown, but because this is an Anasteria quest going after a heroic mob, I think he could probably spawn anywhere in Old or Hightown. I'm just taking a wild guess, because that one you go for to get the Tome of... Not Tome of Names. That tome you have to go into Steps of Torment to get. That undead thing you gotta fight can pop up on, I think it's pretty much any floor in the... It's either the bottom floor or the floor right above it in Steps of Torment. So it can actually spawn in multiple places, and I think that's the same for the Archivist Thalon. So his abilities, he obviously has Mirror of Oryctes. He's essentially the possessed archmages and elementalists as a base, but he's arcane based. So he has this, he has Mirror of Oryctes. You saw it on him there. He also has like a Calidor's Tempest ability. That's Aether Lightning. And you saw him hit me with it there, and all my stuff turned off. It's energy draining. So if he hits you with it, you'll lose a ton of energy. At least I think it was the Calidor's Tempest that does it. That. So you have to kind of be careful with that, because you can lose your energy, and you do kind of got to keep him a little bit at arm's length. He also has a Devastation, which he's casting right here. And his Devastation sort of hits the way Devastation used to hit. It comes down in waves. But it's always in one area. He also has a Shadow Strike ability, a teleport ability that pounce on you. And he has this sort of... like, spread missiles. He has magic missiles that spread out. I think he also has some sort of Aether Explosion ability. But for the most part, he is not difficult. Yeah, and he has the Aether Rings, because we're getting him down almost to dead. So he becomes more active, or at least he felt more active to me as time went on in the fight. And we got his head. So now we're basically going to wander around a bit more until we find the boss room. So Archivist Thalon is not that dangerous a fight, not that tough a fight. Definitely the mob you have to fight to get the tome of, like, is it Overwhelming Truths? I can never remember. To me it's always the tome in the Steps of Torment you need to pick up for Anasteria. It's not like I remember the name that well. It's like I think it's Pulsating Shard of Obsidian is what you have to pull from the Bastion. I just say it's the shard for that quest. There are just some things that don't register in my brain as proper names for certain items, and I'll just describe them like that. So yeah, here's another area where it's tight rooms, narrow corridors, and everything just walks into the Aether Ray. It's awesome. Because right here, they just all come through one door, and it's like, well, might as well put the Devastation on the door, and then the beam goes through the door, everything's just going to stream right into it. Oh, and we can throw our thermite mines down right outside the door, throw some cocktails through the doorway as well. Just works great. Now, I think I go way in on this door just so I'm not standing in that Aether trap. Because I don't really know how damaging they are. I just don't want to be in them. Just out of, you know, the nature of not wanting to be in the trap. Yeah, so this is that room I pointed out earlier where I was like, oh, I'm sure we'll be in here eventually. And yeah, we eventually got in there. I think it is. And then, yeah, I pointed out the Aether Crystal on the other side of the fence. So now we got some, it's just wandering around and looking for the end. Now beyond the Inquisitor, which I think is going to go great with a lot of builds. I said Fire Strike. I also think you're going to see some really solid Shaman combinations, some really solid Nightblade combinations, and then it may be one of your best, if it does go to all three elemental types, it may be one of your best just general elementalist all-rounder character combos to do the Arcanist with it. Because the Arcanist already wants to keep things at range, and having a class that is also ranged is kind of a huge advantage. So yeah, we're at here's the Throne of Van Eldritch, and we're going to go in. We got to go through the Aether Barrier. But beyond that, if it's the Acolyte as the next class, I hope it's Aether Cold. Because we really do need another class that has Aether damage. And I'm hoping we just get something to support Aether damage. As a class in the near future. Like Aether Cold Vitality would be perfect. And have it be kind of necromancy themed. So that's the door out there. So the room you fight him in is really tiny. You can sort of see me run around it. You got these 3 pillars in the room. But it's not a giant boss chamber. And he has 2 councilmen with him. Councilman... I'll see if I can get their names. Is it Garl? And Councilman, it's like Halius. And Garl is, I think, predominantly poison-based. Because you can see him sort of throwing these poison clouds around. Halos is, I think, predominantly cold-based. And he's also sort of throwing like the Aether Crystal bombs at me. So the strategy I took on here was kill the 2 councilmen. And then kill Van Eldritch. Now you see this one councilman here. Garl has this like Myvan Sphere of Protection on him. So you can't damage him at all. But also Nullification, as far as I know, didn't take that shield down. And he healed in it. So, this is going to be an interesting point of fact when we actually get to having both of the councilmen dead. Now, Van Eldritch right now is pretty much just throwing out Aether stuff and dropping meteors on me that'll instantly stun you. Yeah, so I focused down Garl there. And if you look, now Van Eldritch has these 3 crystals swirling around him. As does the other councilman. So I think what happens in this fight is if you kill the councilman, some or all of the abilities are transferred to the others. But it makes the fight more manageable because you just have that fewer number of things to fight. So I'm going to kill Councilman Halos here. And yeah, you can see there's sort of a blizzard happening. And I think this is what Halos is doing. So yeah, now Van Eldritch has all of these crystals floating around him. And he sort of is pumping up his game here. So he's going to drop more meteors. He's going to throw out Aether Waves. And he's just more active. Yeah, and the meteors get really annoying. But they're more or less easy to deal with because you can see them coming and you can kind of get out of their way. And a lot of his stuff he throws out, there are these 3 pillars around. And this goes for the councilman as well. You can kind of use the pillars to hide. So, yeah, he is not a difficult boss. Here's where things get tricky, though, and why I think he steals other abilities from the other guys. Because now he has that sphere, and he gets a heal off this, and I can't hurt him through it. And this becomes kind of an interesting game to play here, where if he goes in this sphere, he's healed up a bit. And it turns into, well, I have to kill him before he gets his next sphere off. But he's also going to be, like, chain stunning, almost. He's going to be throwing out tons of things that either interrupt your skills, or, like, the meteors here that just outright stun you. So you kind of have to... deal just a crap ton of damage to him, while avoiding his abilities that disable your skills. Or at least interrupt you. And I don't think you can actually break his sphere. It might be just an absurd amount of damage reduction and not actually immunity. And that would mean you can still attack him to deal a little bit of damage. I'm going to have to fight him a bunch more to really get his fight down. But yeah, about now, I'm kind of resolved to doing what I do best with an Albrecht's Aetheroid character. Throw some cocktails on the guy, and then just sit here and use my laser beam to kill him. But you kind of have to get this timing down on the meteors, because he's back in his sphere now, and he gets his little freebie heal. So, we're just running around the 3 pillars. Like I said, it's a tiny boss chamber. But I think it's actually more manageable to have the councilman dead now. So yeah, we throw out our artillery, our Blackwater cocktails. Now we're just going to burn him down. And I'm ready for the meteors. And we got some skill disruption. So we have to kind of deal with those as well. But for the most part, it's pretty much sit here and burn him with a laser beam. And that's that. So we go up out of the exit up here. There are 2 normal chests. And then the cluster of really good chests are to the left of the warp stone. I didn't really get anything out of the chests. The only legendary I pulled from any of this was, ironically enough, a Will of the Living, which is the Aether damage shield. So, that is Port Valbury. Right here, I'm probably going to slip in a little bit on the new items. So there'll be a cut, then that, and then... Okay, so there are 4 monster infrequents and 2 unique things from Valbury. 3 of the infrequents are belts. Chains of Brandis, which give critical damage, chaos resistance, and health. Chains of Ordos, which is Aether Vitality resistances and defensive ability. And then the Chains of Ygrod, which is Pierce Res, attack speed, cast speed, and health. And this is the most interesting out of all of these belts, because attack speed and casting speed help a lot of builds out, and they show up on a belt. So depending on what the build is and how good a belt you have, this could actually replace Tinkerer's Ingenuity. Could potentially be a best-in-slot belt, just because it gives you the DPS stat on it. So the other thing is a scepter, and there's an epic version and a legendary version. The epic version is the Scepter of Eldritch. It's Aether damage based. You have percent Aether and lightning damage. It increases critical damage. It has elemental res, cooldown reduction, and +2 to devastation and maelstrom. It also grants the skill Corrupting Touch of Eldritch, which deals Aether and lightning damage. It has a chance to confuse, it confuses the target, reduces their offensive and defensive abilities, and reduces their resistances. This scepter is essentially best in slot for any sort of druid character, in my opinion, because as a druid character, you're probably going to lean on doing Aether Lightning, because Devastation's just that awesome, and then the Shaman abilities are all lightning based, and if you kind of combine those 2 damages, you can actually deal a lot of damage with those damages on those abilities. So I really can't wait to get my hands either the Scepter of Eldritch or the Decree of Eldritch. And this is basically almost the exact same thing, but you have electrocute damage added in, and +1 to all Arcana skills, and Maelstrom is now +3. And then the ability is a little better. So with... Is it? Oh no, the ability is exactly the same. So it's a Corrupting Touch ability. But the ability is still really good because of what it reduces on the enemies. Now, I don't know if the Corrupting Touch is a percentage-based ability, or if you actually have to use it yourself, what the range is, what the animation is, etc., etc. I just know it's on the weapon, and even if it is something you have to activate, it could just be good as an ability that you add into whatever your rotation is. But yeah, I definitely think this is a best-in-slot weapon for an Aether Lightning character, specifically for the Druid. And even if you pull one, it would probably go really good for an Albrecht's Aether Ray character or a Calidor's Tempest character. Even though it only hits the Aether of the 2 damages for those 2 abilities, it's still a really solid piece of gear. So that's the one more infrequent we have to look at. X rare. It is the Aether Warped Cleaver, right at the top of the list. It's physical damage based, +2 to Zolhan's technique, like I mentioned in the playthrough, and some health and bleeding damage. So that's okay. If it rolls good, I mean, you'll probably get a nice weapon out of it. But yeah, it's not Aether based. It's all for soldiers. And yeah, so that's all of the infrequents and the 2 unique items. So back to me in the past to do the sign off. Back to here. So thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.